And I can tell you, I knew what I was doing, but I wasn't involved in interrogations. If I'd been in control of that prison and knew what was going on out there, it wouldn't have gone on out there.
Even though Karpinski and Bacchus lost control, they both kept quiet as the new methods were introduced. Maybe there are no real heroes in this story. Only people with more or less control. And some people who seems to be outside of any control or regulation. When we read the documents, we discover a strange little detail. In the scandal surrounding Abu Ghraib, it's not just soldiers in the investigation. There were also civilians involved in the abuse against prisoners, so-called contractors, that for some reason never were brought to trial. But the question is, what exactly is a contractor? Here are pictures from Fallujah in Iraq of a lynching of American soldiers. But something about this picture isn't what it seems to be. Those aren't regular soldiers being lynched, but contractors from a privately owned company called Blackwater. The man in the red tie is Paul Bremer. He was Janis Karpinski's boss in Iraq. The man walking beside him with a machine gun isn't a soldier. He's a contractor from Blackwater.
We're talking here about a mercenary. We're talking about a hired hand, a hired gun. And when you have, in Iraq, a man with a gun who is hired to use that weapon, you're talking about a soldier without laws and without orders. There are no rules or regulations governing the use of these people.
We wanted to get in touch with someone at Blackwater who can explain to us what exactly a contractor does.
Thank you for calling Blackwater. This is Diana. How may I help you?
I was trying to reach Mr. Bartali with no success, and I wonder if there's someone else I can talk to regarding press issues.
Unfortunately, he is the only person. I think he's just been so busy. We've had many calls for him. Did you leave him a voice message?
We've called Blackwater so many times that we lost count, but they don't seem to want to talk to us. Here are pictures from one of their PR events, but we get the feeling that it isn't enough to understand what the contractor really does.
Everybody on the leadership, from the leadership team down, is absolutely committed to doing the right thing, to doing the best we can do in support of freedom and democracy.
But it appears that the coalition doesn't just use Blackwater. The fact is, there are over 20,000 private contractors in Iraq. They constitute the second largest force after the American Army. And hundreds of firms around the world hire out private contractors.
Hello, you speak English? Hello? No. Okay, Mr. Pavel Konstantinescu? Hello?
One such firm is the Romanian security company Bidepa. We're in Bucharest, where Bidepa will show us what their services include.
Hello, Alex. Hi, Eric. How are you? Nice to meet you. All the guys in the group in Iraq. All of them in Iraq.
We work like a private company in all other countries, in the West.
What made you decide to go into the private?
In the private system have more mobility. Why? Because all over the world, military system have the rules, not left, not right, only
They have just returned from an assignment in Iraq. They worked there for the coalition forces. The man on the right was killed in an ambush during the last assignment, and Carlo, on the left, received serious gunshot wounds.
What's the main difference from being a soldier and being a bidepa?
Not difference.
No? No difference?
It's the same mentality.
Everybody's same. And everybody, we have the guns, everybody's military.
So what we've got is a situation where we have thousands of armed Westerners in Iraq using their weapons without any rules of engagement, without any law behind them. There is no law for them.
But do you have, like, rules of engagement? Like the Americans have rules of engagement, like what to do and...
The rules is not in the paper, it's in the heart.
Mercenaries were killed in 1 week. Not a single story appeared in the paper. The coalition needs these people because they want to reduce their casualties. In a sense, we're using freelance mercenaries as sandbags to protect not only our soldiers, but the casualty figures of our soldiers as well.
At Guantanamo, do you think there were contractors there too?
Contractors just started to be used right towards the end of my tour in Guantanamo, and there was only one or two that I saw when I left. Didn't see really any problem with the contractor issue just because of the fact that it was such a small percentage. When we're talking about Abu Ghraib, though, the percentage goes from maybe 5 or 10% of the overall force up to 50% of the actual interrogation and analysis force there.
You were at Abu Ghraib as a soldier?
No. At Abu Ghraib, I was a civilian contractor.
We realize how hard it is to understand this new world order. Contractors, detainees, unlawful combatants. New categories of people that didn't exist before. Soldiers from private companies interrogate soldiers from a private organization in a prison camp located on an island outside of the law. The new concepts become just empty words.
I mean, let's look at it this way. Think of a normal conflict. We're in an unconventional war. Think of a conflict, for example, the one in Iraq. Think of the Balkans. Think back to World War II. When you take people captive, you're allowed to hold them during the course of hostilities. There's a legal basis for that. This is the same principle that is being applied here. The only difference is that we are in more of an unconventional war, where the war is against a private organization rather than a state. I mean, let's look at it this way. Think of a normal conflict. We're in an unconventional war, where the war is against a private organization rather than a state. That is the only difference. Al-Qaeda wears no uniform. Al-Qaeda does not carry their arms openly. Al-Qaeda does not belong to a responsible command. And Al-Qaeda clearly does not follow the laws and customs of war. We are in more of an unconventional war, where the war is against a private organization rather than a state. I mean, let's look at it this way. Al-Qaeda wears no uniform. Al-Qaeda does not carry their arms openly. Al-Qaeda does not belong to a responsible command. And Al-Qaeda clearly does not follow the laws and customs of war. We are in more of an unconventional war, where the war is against a private organization